Hello and welcome to the LampPod. It's me, Sam, and you,
Neil. Hello.
And this is the 51st LampPod.
The big 5-1.
And the first one for since we came back that we're not going to do a cut in the middle because there's no episode to watch.
Yeah, we decided not to watch because Disney Plus released the Marvel Assembled first episode, which is all about WandaVision, and I presume there'll be one for every sort of Marvel TV property they do.
Yeah, I'd assume so. They seem to be very trying to be forward thinking with it. Let's start these shows that will have one episode and then we'll keep adding to them over the years.
Yeah.
Because they did it with Legends as well, where it's a 6-minute one of those fan videos you'd find on YouTube.
I watched the first two. No, I think actually I only watched the first one for Wanda. And I was just like, oh, this is literally a compilation video that someone does.
Yeah.
They usually do it for
1,000 times.
Yeah, they usually do it for Doctor Who when a regeneration happens and they take the speech and then edit over all the best bits and you're
everything they've done. Yeah.
You're just
yeah.
Very lazy on Disney's part.
I don't know. It's interesting though, because the thing that sort of, I don't want to say elevates it, but the thing that makes it a little bit unique compared to the YouTube ones is obviously Disney have access to all these files that don't have the soundtrack in them.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so there's a lot more freedom.
Yeah, because was there a moment in Assembled where they sort of show the scene where Wanda has to kill Vision?
Yeah.
Was that in there?
Yeah, they definitely showed it.
Yeah, but it's without it's the climactic music, and it's just before Thanos is there, and it's the peak of that whole movie. It's right there. But obviously they completely removed the music, so it's literally you can just hear them breathing and stuff, and it's really weird.
I don't know, because I felt like that was the first time I actually heard the dialogue in that scene.
Yeah, because you can really hear him say "I love you."
Yeah, that was cool. I like that. But yeah, this week we'll probably refer to the Assembled doodah, but it will mainly just be us talking about WandaVision and the show that finished last week before the next one starts, and just a breather, taking it in, letting you guys know what we thought of it.
Yeah, and maybe we'll come at the end and sort of do a sort of discussion of what we think could happen in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, what we think episode 1's going to be, because next week we're not going to record prior to seeing the episode. We're just going to
jump straight in
and do just 40 minutes of us chatting about what we've just seen.
No need to overcomplicate it.
Is it one episode next week?
As far as I'm aware,
okay,
I think because it's only a 6-episode season, I think they're going to try and
they'd be mad
stretch
to
it as long as
blow their load so early. But yeah, did you watch it in the week?
Yes, I did rewatch it.
Nice. I did not.
Well, the whole season or the episode? Oh, okay. I watched the final episode again. I didn't rewatch the entire season. Interesting sort of thought about the season. Now we know everything that happens and we know what's going on. Mm-hmm. The energy that I've had from it, or the sort of the mentality of maybe I could rewatch that at some point, is maybe I'd start from episode 4. Do I need to rewatch the first 3 episodes?
Yeah,
before the sitcom stuff.
I think I'd start from episode 3, where Monica kind of becomes more apparent.
Yeah, the first reveal at the end of the episode of the outside world. Yeah,
but yeah, I do want to go back and rewatch, especially having seen Assembled and the fact that all the effort they went through to make it as legitimate as possible. But I've really struggled to put it back on. Because it kind of sucks.
That is I guess an hour's worth of, because if they're all 20 minutes, you've got an hour's worth of TV to sort of just 3 different sitcoms to sit through, and then you can watch the Marvel
and then you
show.
get the Marvel thing. I felt really strange about WandaVision since.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Walk me through. What have you been feeling?
I think I like it, And like I loved it to begin with, and like the more I think back on the sort of the TV side of it, I'm like, yeah, no, that was all very cool and very mysterious. But the more I think about it, like I don't know, I haven't really said this to anyone because the house has been very lonely recently. We live in a pandemic. We live in a society. I don't know if I liked the ending as much as I initially thought I did.
Okay. Which part, or just the whole thing? Or?
I think the final episode I have issues with now, because although I loved the way the action was shot and done, and the sort of like the stunt work and everything, and I thought it was paced really well. I did kind of just have a moment within the week where I was like, oh, this really crazy, wacky show that I had no idea what it was going to be became the third act of a bog standard Marvel film.
Yeah.
And that I was kind of like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it is that sort of like CG action in the last episode. Interesting. You said that you thought it was paced all right, because that's where my thought has gone this past week, is that the pacing of that last episode, it was like they were cramming in 2 episodes worth of stuff into the final episode. And like, I think I was fine with it at the time. Maybe in the previous podcast, maybe I sort of kind of voiced that concern with it, but definitely over the week I've been like, man, yeah, it really just sort of, it just hit the fan in that last episode, and and then it ended.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it again during the week. I caught the back half of the episode after we finished recording, because my housemates were watching it downstairs, and I kind of jumped in. I think it was like just before she did the runes and all that stuff. Like it was very late on, and. Yeah, the more it's like, it's annoying because the more I think about the show, the more I'm like, oh damn, maybe it wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think there's a good, like, it's a good success in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Great.
But maybe there could have been maybe have a smaller climax. I don't know.
Yeah, like, that's kind of where my head's at. I'm like, it could have been this. Because I think Vision's great in that episode. I think Vision versus The Vision, I think is...
Yeah, it's weird how he's credited as The Vision.
Yeah, and that's the name of the Funko Pop figure. Is like The Vision. But I liked that ending because you had the Big Bang smash crash wallop thing. Crash bang wallop? That's the one. And then they figured it out in a more sort of logical way, and it was very fitting to the character. And I think it was fitting to Wanda's character, but it just was nowhere near as interesting as I initially... I think last week I got very swept up in like how good the effects look, and it was... cool, they're doing flying, and now obviously we've seen that it's all wire work, and that's amazing, and I'm a big fan.
Oh, I was very impressed when I saw that, like how natural the wire work is.
Yeah, and the fact that there's like multiple characters all doing wire work, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like now thinking back on it, I'm like, underwhelming. Sadly, as frustrating as that is.
Yeah, and I think it's not Paul Bettany's fault per se, but I think the whole, I've acted alongside this guy that I wanted to, like, I know he said it in as a joke, and he's quite a funny guy, and he's always saying his jokes in his interviews, but man,
yeah,
like that really like held some people together on this show for like weeks.
He set us up for failure, and that's fine. Like I like that joke, and I think
it's funny.
I think it's an excellent like troll, but also like sincere. Like I don't feel like it was like, I got ya. I feel like it was like a Marvel have told me I'm not allowed to say anything, so I'm gonna say something
something dumb.
That's so innocent and like and
yeah.
It's him like playing the game, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but no, I was expecting something.
Oh yeah, totally. The thing is as well, and I think we've both now heard him say it, right? We've heard the audio. I think they did it. They played the audio in Mr. Sunday Movies, the clip of him actually saying.
I haven't heard it for a while, and I didn't watch all of that video where you were like, he says it in this one, but I have seen it. And right, I think I'd seen it prior to that.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, whether or not, because I saw it before the final episode aired, but after the fact that Vision had been revealed. Like, hearing the clip, I was immediately like, this is a joke. He's like smirking through it as he says it, and it's like he's being very coy. And I wish I'd heard it before, because I do wonder if I'd be like, this is a joke. Like, it has to be himself.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you'd have been able to call like himself, or you might have just been able to go like, well, it's no one. Like,
there's some trickery,
trolling us. And then. Yeah, I think that would have been you would have been a happier viewer had you have gone into it going, I'm not expecting anyone.
Yeah, I think he's trolling us. I'm not quite sure how, but like...
Yeah, and then you would have still got the joy of the vision.
Yeah,
and that would have been like, yay, best of both worlds.
Definitely. And then I think the other one that they can learn from as well, I don't really know if this is how we got here, but like... going on from that, I think Marvel can learn from scripting in that why they put that thing in there over the course of 3 episodes where Monica's like, I know a guy, aerospace engineer, like really focusing on that like build up, only for it to be like a rando.
To be like sweet nothing.
Yeah, what was that? Why I whether or not Disney will look at that or Marvel will look at that and say that was a success because it had people theorizing, but like
it kept people coming back, but like
but they should also look at the fact that at the other end of that you should probably have some kind of reveal. Like why tease us for so long? They'll be here in an hour. Like, come on.
Even like down to Jimmy like doing the texting after he was like trapped. He was like, it's like, yeah, can you get here in an hour? Like,
yeah,
there was so many points where I was like, maybe it's now. Like,
yeah, because he even said about Quantico, and I think at the time I was like, oh, that's the lock picking guys from Ant-Man 2, but it turns out they're actually called like ex-con or something, like because they're all ex-convicts.
Yeah, I think ex-con rings a bell.
So I think Quantico might be something to do with Hank Pym's lab or so, but again, don't know. It is just like it's a cheap way of like getting people to be like, ooh, maybe, because it's like you can just say anything if you're not actually gonna put people in there. Like you could just say it, get people like whoa, and then nothing happens. Because who did he text in the end? It was the FBI that showed up. Right?
Yeah, it was just I guess the guys at the end who were like taking people's statements and who were like was like, Monica, we need to speak to you and all this stuff. I don't know. Yeah, but there was a like report of the writer or director being like, the last episode is going to disappoint you. Like there was like a thing that people were like, yeah, the director came out and said this, and I was like, okay. And
in what sense?
I don't know. I haven't read the article since, but someone just went to me, yeah, there's a quote from the director, I think it was the director, saying you're going to be disappointed by the finale, and I was like,
oh, it's probably if you had certain expectations.
Yeah,
like a
that's kind of. I can't see them saying that for any other reason.
It'd be a bit weird if they're like, yeah, this show that we shot recently and like gave me good pay and like gave me a job, you're gonna be disappointed by it.
It was probably a case of like that was the clickbaity headline, and then it goes in like I haven't seen a theory yet that was right.
Right, yeah.
So you're gonna be disappointed. Like it's probably like half of a quote or something like that. Okay, let's not make this just
shit on WandaVision.
Yeah, because it is good and it's
a good show.
Great TV, and I think I will rewatch it at some point because I'm bound to. Like,
yeah.
It's of course I am. I'm a nerd.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Don't be foolish. But let's talk about the stuff that we do like. And I think
none of it.
Well, see you next week, guys. Next week we'll be talking about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. No, I think my favorite part of this show is the actress who plays Monica Rambeau. I think she is so good. Her name is Teyonah Parris. I've written down, and
awesome.
It's she especially having watched, because she was great in the show, but having watched the assembled video, she is so happy to be there.
Oh yeah, she's like,
loving
about
life.
the whole thing. Yeah.
And
she said like she auditioned without really knowing what it was. She said maybe she had an inkling it was for Marvel, and then she like just out of nowhere was like, "What if it's Monica Rambeau?" And
yeah,
it
she
was.
said it to her agent. And it was just like, that's so cool. Like, good for her.
Awesome. Yeah.
And like obviously there's like the great stuff of like being the first female black superhero on screen, and like all that stuff's great, but like she is just so just pleased to be in the MCU.
Oh, totally.
And I think she would have gave 100% even if she was just one of the like bystanders who were being mind controlled by Wanda.
Well, because it was funny as well, because she was talking about how she was directed, I think in the 3rd episode of the show, to just go ridiculous with it and just ham it up massively.
Yeah, she said that was like her audition prompt. That episode, so she just like went ham with it.
Yeah, because it totally comes across in the episode as well, and I think it was really funny.
Yeah, and it's like a stark contrast with her in the MCU, like
yeah.
With the black bar, she's like a completely different character, and it shows her strengths as an actress.
Oh yeah, totally.
She's incredible.
And I think as well, like upon rewatches as well, it adds to like just the creepiness of the whole scenario, knowing that she's like not doing any of that like willingly, like just from an in-universe perspective, like as a character. I think it's really like it's just effective when you know that Wanda is making people do all this, and it is to see her like woohoo, aha, and it's like very like puppet situation. It's really like odd and strange and. Yeah, so I think she's done very well. I think like it's a very effective performance.
It's a bold move introducing a character that I'm presuming is going to be such a huge part of the MCU moving forward in this show, and I think Marvel are brave to do it, but they're also like they know that they've got us, and they know that if people like watch Secret Wars or whatever she shows up in next, they're like, oh, who is she? Like, they know that people are going to come back to this, and I think that's cool.
You're totally going to get like a Nick Fury line where it's like, I heard about your Westview thing or whatever it was, like, you know, like,
I heard
go,
about
and then you'll look at the camera and like,
you're running with a witch and a Sokovian, or like something like that.
Yeah.
Wink.
I think they're very clever with what they've done introducing these characters, especially like the 3 key ones being Monica, Wu, and Darcy, in that they're not just like characters out of nowhere, and there's nothing wrong with introducing new characters. Like, that should be encouraged, and like they will be in the future anyway, with all these new superheroes and stuff coming in. But I think for this show it was very smart to have these like supporting characters all have origins in previous movies, and like it's so interesting that like people are like crying out for like the Wu TV show now, which probably isn't in the slate, and like they're now talking about pitching it because he's so popular now, as some kind of X-Files kind of like Wu solving mysteries and being super kind and wholesome with his magic tricks.
there was a cool part in the assembled thing when I'm just gonna start calling it Assembled because it's called Assembled. So
yeah.
There was a cool part in that where he talked about like his experience on Ant-Man and the Wasp was like planting the seeds of like a character.
Totally.
But like he was planting the seeds of a character that like he probably never thought he'd play again.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. It's retroactive seed planting, because I don't think when they wrote that movie they were like, this will all come up again. Like it was just, let's write a character that's funny.
And if anything, I think he's used better in that sense, and like feels like more of a fulfilled character than Darcy is.
Yeah. Because the thing is with Darcy, I suppose her character was just the intern, right? She didn't really do much else. And
like you find out through this show that she's gone off and become her own scientist, as opposed to just working for Jane Foster. But like, I wonder if is she gonna pop up in Thor: Love and Thunder? Like maybe.
Well, so there's been no casting confirmation for that for her to return. So I do wonder now if maybe like, because are they still filming that? I don't really know.
They were about a month ago, so I presume that maybe it's probably like a 2-month production, I would have thought.
So like whether or not they would even consider doing like a reshoot to just put her in a scene or something, or like maybe the execs at Marvel, again with the same thing with Wu, where they're like, oh shit, people want like an X-Files show. Maybe they're like, shit, let's find a place for Darcy. Well, maybe it could be the X-Files show. Like she could work as like the sort of the other partner of the duo, sort of doing mysteries, and they've both got different skill sets, I guess you could say. So like, you know, FBI skills and then like science skills, and it would probably complement each other the way it did in this show.
Yeah, they really nailed that dynamic, and it felt like Monica, Wu, and Darcy were kind of they worked really well as a unit, but they worked because they were very different. They had very different approaches to situations. It was a true triad of excellence.
To go back to Monica, I think that scene where she gets her powers, and I think you might have said this in the last episode, like it is the best scene in this entire show.
I was gonna get onto that later on, like like highlights of this show.
Yeah, I think there's something about it that's just so effective and emotional, and like using those audio bites of like the previous, like Captain Marvel, where they're all talking about her and talking about her mother, and it's like knowing the context of like she didn't get to see her mother when she passed away. Like fucking hell, it is like devastating, but like it's so like triumphant, and you get this like Frisian like I'm crying because I'm happy for her. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pushing away so good,
so good. What a scene.
Yeah,
and then she gets her power.
I could like gush over that one scene so much.
Big time. So good. And the second thing I wanted to say was they're in an interesting place writing wise now, because they sort of set up that Monica isn't happy with Captain Marvel for some reason, and we can assume it's like, you know, maybe she never visited or whatever, in the same way that Jane Foster in Thor 2 is like, you never visited when you were in New York, Thor, what the fuck. Like maybe it's a similar situation. She was like, you were fighting Thanos and then you never said hi, what the fuck. So they're going to be in a weird place where Captain Marvel 2 comes out, and if they are at odds with each other, they're going to have to make it quite balanced, because a lot of us are going to be on Monica's side. The titular character is Captain Marvel, and it's like she's the asshole in this situation where she didn't visit her, and we're like, we all love Monica now, so we're like, yeah, what the fuck, Captain Marvel.
Why do you think she's mad at her?
The only assumption is that she didn't visit, but I don't know.
I think she didn't like help out when her mother was ill. I think
no, she did visit her mother.
Yeah,
before the snap.
I think it's like we tried getting in contact with you. Like she was really sick.
Oh God!
Why weren't you there? I think it's gonna be like it's gonna be an emotional beat as opposed to like an anger. Like I think it might end in like her breaking down and just be like, you weren't there. Like as opposed to like oh, I'm mad at you because
I was all alone. You were all I had. Like,
yeah.
You know, like. Yeah, maybe. That would be quite a good approach to it. I hadn't considered that.
Speaking of highlights, I've written down 6 highlights.
Oh,
but I put a star next to the Monica walkthrough because
it's the best one.
that was like my highlights.
Brilliant.
But another one was, which we've kind of touched on, was Jimmy's card tricks.
Yeah,
like
brilliant.
just bringing that back as a character trait, as like a thing he's grown since. Excellent.
Because he gets out of the handcuffs as well through the same means. Is that a magician's trick thing?
He's using the tricks of the trade, and I love the fact that magic has become like a key part of Jimmy Woo's character.
Yeah.
The opening to episode 4.
Tell me.
Her waking up from the snap. That was excellent. So well done.
That. Because they keep finding new angles that I hadn't considered about the snap. Like in Spider-Man Far From Home, where he's like, yeah, my younger brother is now my older brother. I was like, oh my God.
Of course.
That's crazy. And then like this is like people died of natural causes in the middle of that. And then people just woke up and were like, where are they? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where like, this is all Tony's fault. But it works better for the MCU as a whole to have people come to now, so you don't undo anything. I think that's
totally. Yeah,
that's
because people's
the best decision.
lives change. Yeah, definitely.
I also wrote the Vision trying to break through the edge of Westview.
Yeah, wow,
was excellent. So well done.
Especially the first time watching it, like it was like haunting to watch.
Yeah,
because he was like,
it's like
I don't want to say he
painful.
was screaming, but yeah, it was that sort of like his voice was like being fucked up, but he was like, they need help. Like as he's dying, he's not asking for help for himself. He's like, there are people trapped in there.
Yeah,
they need help. So effective, and like the fact that everyone just stood around watching him, like it just created a very weird vibe that I thought was really effective.
And with like Darcy trying to help, like. It was haunting. It was like genuinely like horror tropes kind of thing.
And like it had been building for the whole episode as well. Because I mean, up to this point, we're all rooting for Vision. Like, go to the edge. Like, go through or something. Like,
that was kind of
what's going on.
I wrote Vision at the edge as like my note because like I also liked how the further out of town he got, the less like puppeted the townspeople became. And I just thought that was just creepy in itself. And
totally.
So well done.
When I think even I maybe said last week or the week before, like it was approaching ass pull levels of like, oh, it was Agatha all along. But that scene is definitely like an early setup. Like they clearly established that everyone is non-responsive, and then she's the only one that's speaking. And then obviously he does the brain thing, and she sort of acts more normal. But like. Prior to that, she is sort of like.
Well, it's like why would Wanda ever send Agnes that far out?
That's true. Yeah, she's like a lead character in this sort of scenario, and for some reason she's out there. Like,
her being there, and also like her. If you go back and watch it, I watched it in the assembled episode, and she's like, oh, "Am I dead? Because you are like." When everyone else is like, "Oh my God, you need to help!" Like it's
no one else addresses the fact that
much
Vision
more
is
panicky,
stood in front of them.
Whereas she's manipulating Vision. Because when you look at Norm, who has the best TikTok ever,
totally, that guy.
You want me to get fired? It's so good.
I got an ass job and it looks incredible.
If you compare hers to him, it's like completely polar opposite reactions. Also, speaking of ass jobs, why did Paul Bettany have a fake butt?
Yeah, what was that about?
What was that about?
They gave him like a wooden ass for episode 1
for the 50s. Yeah. Was it just to improve posture? I don't know if that was a thing. Like I was genuinely like, what is this?
That seems like it might have been a thing at the time.
Maybe. Like to get them to stand straighter and
because even in the 50s they were thinking about like coloration. Like they were talking about how people used to wear blue lipstick on TV so that it would appear like rosy red. So if they were thinking about that back then, they were definitely thinking about like, how do we make people aesthetically pleasing, or like
what's the best
aesthetically
kind of
pleasing?
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, so they were like, let's just shove a plank of wood down your ass and just, that'll make you look better.
That cracked me up. That like just that one clip of Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen just talking about like the Spanx and stuff that they're wearing made me laugh a lot.
Her dress like it improves her posture as well. Doesn't it? Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
The reveal of Wanda's tiara I thought was excellent. I thought it was so cool, and like teased enough for you to like totally buy into that was what was happening.
Yeah. And I think I said last week that that sort of when they first showed that other witch do it, she was like going like Super Saiyan, like proper like putting her power into it, which then it appeared as if it was like when you overload your power, it sort of manifests. But then I was sort of thinking like, well, Wanda's scenario that didn't really happen, but you sort of get the sort of the flavor text from Agatha where she's like, you don't know what you've unleashed, like after she does that. So maybe that is Wanda fully like embracing her full potential. Yeah. And that's why it sort of manifests.
Because she says with the whole runes thing, she's like, you don't need to tell me who I am. I know who I am. And then
it sort of comes out. So she's truly reached her peak or something.
She's becoming the Scarlet Witch then, I guess. Like
Yeah. And I wonder if that ties in with she sort of says in the Halloween episode that she's wearing like a Sokovian fortune teller outfit. I wonder if there's some sort of like, you could delve into that and be like, well, maybe the Sokovian fortune teller of like, Sokovian history, like fictitious history, maybe that was the previous Scarlet Witch, and that's why that in the Sokovian lore they sort of imagine fortune tellers having those tiaras or something like that. You know what I mean? There could be something there they could do with the writing.
Like you could absolutely like bullshit a thing out of that. Like there's Sokovia doesn't exist. So right, it's like, say what you want. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole like, you go down the route of the like Romanian gypsies and stuff like that they did in fucking Game of Shadows, the Sherlock Holmes sequel.
Oh right.
Where that's like a part of the plot, and you kind of take liberty with it and
sort of extrapolate
bend the truth and stuff.
Yeah.
The final thing I want to talk about for highlights was the music, the themes, because like I hadn't really paid attention to how much effort had gone into each theme each week.
Yeah, and it was the same two people, right?
Same two people every week. Kristen and Robert Anderson Lopez. It's Kristen Anderson Lopez and her brother Robert Lopez. Gotcha. Those guys, which they didn't mention at all in the assembled thing, they wrote the music in Frozen and Frozen 2.
Oh,
so like
very cool.
They are huge. They also did the Book of Mormon and Avenue Q on Broadway and musicals, but like they're incredibly like accomplished people.
Yeah.
And they just like they didn't mention it at all, and I thought that was kind of cool. I was like that they're not like, well, they got in touch with us because we did this Disney project.
Guys.
They were just like, no, it's cool. And when we found out, I went like, WandaVision, and like I was like, that'll do. And I was like, this is sweet.
That's so funny to think that. And then like it was really funny as well because they said like, we did like a 30-minute call and like came up with this song. And I was like, what? Like what? You did this in 30 minutes? Are you? What the fuck?
I doubt that was a 30-minute. It wasn't a 30-minute job. I don't think. I think it was 30 minutes of speaking to the showrunners and being like, what kind of vibes you looking for? And then they probably spent like a week on it or something, which is still like incredible. But the music is so good, and the fact that it was written by the same people, which I like didn't catch on to at all, but like it makes so much sense now because like it works within the realm of the show as well, like having that continuous thing.
Yeah, it's like the people in the ads. It's always the same people.
Yeah.
Like, why that was, they never revealed.
Not even once.
Not even.
Who were they? What's going on?
Knows.
Who was that for?
It is an interesting thought to think that like, because Wanda was creating that video broadcast, that like all of that was created. Like somehow within the depths of Wanda's mind, she was writing these songs and like, you know.
Yeah, she's great. She's
what a talented artist.
True talent. Okay, so to sort of wrap up on WandaVision, what do you think was the best episode of WandaVision?
I'm really fond of episode 4 just because it is that like sidequel, if you will, where you get to see what you've already seen. It's the payoff for watching for like sitting through the first 3 episodes of just sitcom. You finally get that like, oh, okay, what's going on? And you see why there's a helicopter, and you see all this, and like how Monica got in there, why there was tents outside when she appeared at the end of the episode. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
I just thought that was
all
really
there
effective.
for a reason, and like you learn that in that episode. That's fair.
Yeah.
That episode was definitely up there for me, but also like I kind of look at it and I'm like, but you ruined the TV thing. Like in my head, I'm like, you're the reason that doesn't work now.
What do you mean?
Like that was the time that we were brought out of that. Whereas like for me, that's the point where it was like, okay, this is going to end with a MCU battle as opposed to a WandaVision battle.
Yeah, I see.
Which I'm fine with, and like I'll get over it at some point. I think my favorite episode was the penultimate one was previously on. Because
that's a very good one.
Just the dive into it felt like, and it basically was, but it felt like watching the clips from Age of Ultron where you go into their like memories and like you learn more about the character through doing that.
Oh yeah.
Like that was what that was for Wanda, and it still felt like WandaVision. It felt like it still felt like part of that show, whereas the final episode I don't think did. It felt like part of the MCU, but not a part of what we'd been setting up for the previous 8 episodes.
Yeah, I do wonder if maybe that last episode should have lent more into the TV aspect again. Like they sort of jumped through all of the eras, like maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I do agree though. I think that penultimate episode is the best episode of the entire show. That being said,
why'd you
but
lie?
No, I'm very fond of
that was your favorite one.
Like that for me is like the sort of the tasty sort of dessert like that I like, whereas I can acknowledge that like episode 8 is like the best episode, if that makes sense.
No, yeah,
I enjoy episode 4. But yeah, I think it's nice as well just to give her some origin and backstory and stuff. Like she needed it.
It's like the best made Harry Potter movie is Prisoner of Azkaban, but my favorite Harry Potter movie is Order of the Phoenix. Like you can differentiate opinion.
100%.
To like objective fact.
Definitely, yes, absolutely. Other thing I wanted to I just because we both sort of like film and like making and stuff. I thought it was very interesting to see like I didn't realize that Vision's like top bit on his head.
Oh yeah, we haven't even spoken
CG.
about the ears.
And the ears, and oh my god, like
I can't believe we haven't spoken about the ears.
That
could have been the whole podcast.
Maybe that would be the thumbnail, is that picture I sent in the chat where he's sort of like creeping up on Darcy, and he's just like this giant bald head, like red skin.
So good.
Purple,
I thought that was a prosthetic that they touched up. And
that's what I thought.
At what point did it become just a bald cap?
Yeah, I guess for like timing reasons, they couldn't have him sat in the chair for 4 or 5 hours every day. So they were like, just paint him pink, and we'll do the rest in post.
But like,
fuck it.
They still had to
Snapchat
apply a bald cap, right?
Yeah, does that take time? I'm not familiar with that kind of side.
It takes a bit of time,
but probably not as much as like applying then something on top of that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's just cutting out the final step and then doing it in CG. But like that's another like the Mandalorian doing with the volume. Like when we didn't realize that was there. Even when you know it's there, like you just have no idea that's all.
Yeah, it's
fake.
Very rarely you can point it out and go,
Which is insane with the Vision head, where it's like, what? I thought that was like there.
I have no idea.
It's insane. And I suppose it helps that there's like a filter over it for most of the show, but like even like the cinematic shots in the episodes.
Well, the stuff that's like obviously shot in like big, probably 4K cameras. No telling at all.
Yeah. So well done to them.
Well done to them.
What do you prefer? Pink, purple Vision or blue Vision?
I love the fact that blue Vision exists.
Yes,
but my favorite Vision is white Vision.
Whoa.
Which will
because he's coming back.
See more. Yeah, because come on, we gotta see more of that.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell we're not going to.
Little prediction with that, I think he might if he ever like recolorizes himself. I think they did an updated look in the Marvel comics like a few years ago where he was less green and more red with like green accents instead. So I would be like, oh, okay, that'll be his new updated look. He'll have a more red costume with the green.
To revamp him.
Totally. And I think I could be wrong, but I think the redesign allows for less CG because his face was so CG. Like I think I remember saying this in a previous episode. I was like, Vision is like fully CG on his face in a lot of places because he's got this like ribbed lines and his eyes got the irises, which I think
is like camera like
the eyes that comes back, but I think the rest of his face might be less CG, a bit less complicated.
It looks a bit janky. The white, the Vision looked a bit in places, just from like side on bits, like the headpiece. I think because it's white, you can't hide the seams and the cracks so much, which is weird if it's all CG. Why did it look like that?
I don't know.
I
do remember thinking at the end of when it was the post-credit scene. I do remember thinking that it was looking a bit like Star Trek. Like, it's just a guy in a costume and like it's supposed to be this android.
It looked like a decent cosplay.
Yeah, totally.
That someone's made in their garage.
Yeah, like this whole show is well polished and all this stuff, and you get to that post credit and it like scans up his body and it's like coming up next week on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Look at this Android Man.
Big Klingon fight.
But yeah, so
yeah. Overall, WandaVision. Good?
It's good.
I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's not perfect. I think it's far from perfect, but I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like Mandalorian season 2, I'm like, no, that's a pretty great show, and like
pretty fucking fantastic.
But this, I'm like, yeah, it's good. Yeah,
it's not bad.
No,
it's not
by no means.
Yeah, it's also not. It's occasionally great.
I think the problem lies in it was so brave and so revolutionary, and then it ended on a familiar turf.
Yeah, we even got a sky beam. It may not be blue.
Exactly.
It was there.
Marvel.
You should just don't do it as a beam. Do it as a big fanned like tree thing or something. Like they must know about the meme of like the sky beams. Don't do it. Do something else visually. Just do something different.
Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Do we want any last minute sort of Captain America TV show?
I have very little idea what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Because it's a 6-act film, right? It's like
it seems that way, yeah. More so than WandaVision was. WandaVision sort of explored TV, whereas this is like it's a movie, but it's cut up.
Watch it weekly, like yeah. So yeah, I like most Marvel films. I just sort of go into not really knowing where we're gonna begin, where we're gonna go. I feel like next week I'll have more of an idea of where the show's going.
Yeah. I did accidentally come up with a theory today
dare
was
you.
at work. So Baron Zemo or whatever, Zemo, when we last saw him, he was in like the Winter Soldier box, and like he's trapped in it or whatever. He's not trapped, but you know he's in prison. So it could be if we could start seeing a lot of like origin points that come from the snap, and I was wondering if he got snapped, his cell got put into storage, and then when he unsnaps, he's just stood in a room, and he's like, "Well, I'm out," and that's how he escapes. Because that's another angle that I hadn't considered, is like what happens to all like prisoners and stuff. Like if they disappeared in an opportune place, they could re-emerge and then escape, and like he could be that sort of thought experiment, I guess, of like,
there's bound to be some prisoners that were like being transported or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. Now they reappear in the middle of the road, like,
did it, I'm free.
So I could totally see something like that. And it's also an opportunity for them to answer those questions of like, what if someone was on a plane when they disappeared? So like they can do that now. And like if he was being transported on a plane, being deported to Sokovia or something, they could be like, oh, he was on a plane, but with Hulk snap, it was, he brought people back safely, and he could just reappear in the middle of a field, like, what's going on?
He looks up and. So you just get like, oh, it's the sky. I was in a plane, but now I'm safe. Like some sort of visual storytelling. I'd be chill with like Zemo being snapped, and then because that would play into like he's still so hungry for revenge. Because 5 years, you're kind of like, but
if he was snapped and it's like it's still fresh or fresher than it was.
A two-year thing, or however long it was since Civil War.
Because I think Civil War was 2016, even in the chronology. So then, like, if Infinity War was 3 years later, and then if he was alive, then through the snap, that's another 5 years. So it's like 8 years. It's like, get over it, dude.
Come on, man. But like, I guess you're not thinking about anything else.
Say that again, sorry. I think you lagged for a moment there.
Oh, yeah, like you're just sat in jail not thinking about anything else, and you're just
see. That's true, yeah, you sort of boil on it. Other final thing is I saw a theory online that Zemo uses his purple face mask with lines on it because it looks like Thanos, and he's trying to get under the hero's skin.
That's cool. I like that. Because it
kind of makes sense. Yeah, is a mask that looks remarkably similar, or could be remarkably similar to Thanos.
I think the only thing that I've seen is obviously there's like a new Captain America running around high-fiving people on football fields.
Yeah.
So like, I know this won't happen, but they were saying that if you remember in Jessica Jones, there was Nuke, the like boyfriend police officer, ex-army guy.
Yeah.
They were saying like it's probably going to be something like that, and I was like, oh, that would have been cool if it was him.
Yeah, it's not
because obviously
him,
he had, but no. But
I think it's 100% confirmed.
I think the character that he was based on takes the super soldier serum,
right,
a knockoff one.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I think they are going with an element of like, well, Captain America doesn't get to assign who the successor is, so we're going to do it as the government.
Yeah, it's the shield now belongs to us because it's government property.
Yeah. Which Captain America doesn't have the authority. We're the government. We're going to do some like similar, like maybe planting the seeds with it from like Iron Man 3, where it's like the government sponsored Iron Man is Iron Patriot, and it's very sort of like government controlled. Like he even says like, with test groups, like War Machine was too aggressive and stuff, so it seems like
that's much cooler. No, it's not.
No, War Machine rocks, all caps with an X.
I thought it was Iron Patriot now. I like that a lot in that movie. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like this is Captain USA or something like that.
Yeah,
it just kind of.
I think it's Patriot. I think it's going to be Patriot. Or something.
Is it just like Patriot? Okay.
I think so. It might be something like that. I think that's what it is in the comics. I can't remember. But that's cool. That'll be interesting. And they'll probably come to odds with him, and then he'll turn out to be an asshole or something. Or
absolutely.
Or they'll subvert our expectations, and he'll actually be quite a nice guy. but he's just a bit timid to sort of actually take on the villains. Like, I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm more just for show and morale.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like what Cap was doing before he became.
Yeah,
soldier.
Yeah.
Like we get like a play on that, whereas he is just a big guy who.
And then the series will end, and they'll be like, "There's a bit of Captain America in all of us. We've got the showman, the guy with wings. That's not. Wait a minute.
The guy with a shield.
The guy with the shield and the guy with the super soldier serum, and together, our powers combined, we are.
I would love for season 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier to just be Falcon, Winter Soldier, and a dude who's got no powers but is quippy. He's just like jumping around, making.
He's the toss a coin to your Witcher guy. Like he's that. That's his role.
Just following around like a bard playing.
In the era of social media, it just doesn't make sense, but he does it anyway.
Or like he's got like an iPhone with like a piano. Like, dun, dun, dun. Captain America.
He's TikToking them and stuff.
Becomes their social media influencer. Okay, final thing.
Okay.
Do you think we're gonna get a Steve Rogers cameo?
My brain says no, but my heart says we could come back for one scene.
I feel like it will just be if he's back, it will be we need guidance as opposed to help. It's like
yeah.
Like
you guys gotta get along.
I don't know what to do in this situation. What would you do? Well, so it reminds me of one time back in the war where he has a little chat with Bucky or
And when I say the war, I mean when I joined the Vietnam War, when I went to that alternate universe back in time. Yes, I was there.
Cuts to like all the helicopters. We get an Apocalypse Now shot.
Yeah, he's having a Nam flashback. Like he's a completely different character now. It's just his experience completely different things.
I'm here for it. I dig that.
Yeah, I'll be down.
Yeah, if he comes back, I want him to be old, and I don't want him to do much. Just give him a nice send off with.
Yeah. My only issue with it, with I was saying about the brain thing, is it's like we've had that send off, so I'm worried that they'd ruin it and like do it again
as a cool full fat videos where he talks about ruining Captain America's Endgame.
Oh, what, by putting him in this show?
It's not putting him in the show, but it's just bringing back Steve at some point, and it's just like
okay,
and just delves into that. I'd be okay if it was very small, one scene that's like earned, and then
what if he passes away off screen or something, and they go to his funeral, and that's part of the show, and maybe that's the thing that brings them together, is that it's like, shit, Steve's passed away, he was like 100 something years old.
Yeah, it could become like the last, like the government don't want Sam to have the shield, but in his last wooden testament.
Oh my god, yeah, maybe.
And because he's a veteran and because of everything he's done for the world, they like, it's at that point that they go, you deserve this.
Yeah. That would be quite good, but at the same time, like, you would kind of hope that like the Falcon just proves himself to these people, and like they have to sort of eat their words, and it not be like some like Captain America like just made it happen. You know what I mean? Like it'd be quite good for the Falcon to sort of
come
really prove himself as like the new Captain America. Let's get that blue costume that he has in the comics. He's got like the like white half face mask that sort of reveals his head.
He's got his head,
Do it, please. I'm down for that.
I'd be down for like a completely fresh, more comic accurate, because they're gradually doing it, but give Falcon.
Yeah, his costume has an update, right? In this.
Yeah, it's like the wings are completely different to what they've used to be.
Yeah,
because his wings throughout the last few films have always had the same sort of design, but now they've got like the feather, like the different layers of feather.
Yeah. Because because in his debut it was all grey, and then they sort of added like the red to it and stuff. But like now I think it is like a bigger overhaul sort of thing.
Yeah, this feels. I think this has even got like a bit of the white on it. Like
yeah, I seem to remember like that, but like I've become so used to seeing it now that I can't even remember if it's that different.
Yeah, I was looking at a picture of it was like Winter Soldier, and then I think one of the in between ones, and then it was Falcon and Winter Soldier. And like the wings are the same in the first two, but in this one they are like complete new design.
That's cool.
Like, that's sweet.
Cool. Wonder if he'll like throw any of like the feathers. Because I think he can do that in the comics, perhaps.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because he's got like actual wings. I think I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, they look more animally.
Actual, yeah,
as opposed
actual
to
feathers.
But yeah,
there we go.
That's our thoughts on WandaVision and our semi-prediction for the show we know nothing about.
Which is good. I like that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, I'm steering clear of any of the new advertisements coming out for it. I'm not
like
enough.
I have seen some of them, and it I don't want to say it feels generic, but it's like there's nothing there that's like, ooh, what's going on there? It's just like action, Fast and Furious. It's a buddy cop. Like
it feels like what we've seen.
Yeah,
already.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, like I usually say, like I'm seeing this, so I have no need to
exactly.
watch
that's true.
Anything extra.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
They have my money.
There we go.
That was good.
Anything else?
No, I got nothing.
Perfect. Let's end it there. Almost an hour.
Damn.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week to talk about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and possibly Justice League, which we haven't brought up at all during this, but I think that airs the day before.
Thursday.
Oh, shit.
So I will...
Well, let's look forward to that, and also Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Is that coming out in parts?
Yeah, 4 parts, I believe.
Oh.
So maybe we'll tag that on. Maybe we'll tag that on to the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier discussions. If we watch it.
We'll do what we did in this video. We'll talk mainly about Falcon and Winter Soldier,
and then be like, and also Justice League. They changed that one shot. Wow.
I'm so annoyed there's important parts.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense because. Sorry to continue, but like Zack Snyder is like, this is how I envisioned it. This I'm going to make it the way I envisioned it. But it's like,
a movie.
You didn't envision it as a TV show. You envisioned it as a film.
What's happening? Yeah.
So there's presumably going to be beginning, middle, ends of 4 episodes. So like how, unless it just stops jarringly.
I think it's just going to stop jarringly.
and then it'll be like throughout the week, like, Zack Snyder, visionary director, like stops the episode mid-sentence.
Do we... want to maybe hold off of Justice League and then watch it in one go?
I don't know, because I kind of want to get in on.
Let's have this conversation another time. We'll let you know next week.
Let's see what happens. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week to discuss one or both of these shows that are airing next week. So we'll be back for episode 52 of the LampPod. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave a like and smack subscribe. And thank you very much. Cheers.